Shir sponsor Loinish Pasam Yakashom Nabasitzchok. We're holding Bobakama Daf Chov Gimel. We're starting in the bottom of Chov Beis and Beis, the last 4 lines. Omarova. Kro Masnisu Mesayeh L'Rabbi Yochanan. We are in the middle of a sugya. Is Isha Mishum Chitzov or Mishum Amoinen? Do you say that a fire is like an arrow? A person is doing the actual hezek, beyadayim, or is considered to be Isha Mishum Amoinen? It's like having your ox or your boar doing an hezek. So more says, Omar Rava, Kol Masizu Mesayeh L'Rabbi Yochanan. I have a pasuk and a brisa like a Yochanan. Kol Dichtiv Ki Teitze Hesh Teitze Me'atzmo. It says in the pasuk, it goes out on its own. Yeshalim Amavir Sabeyo. Pay the one who lit the fire. What do you mean he lit the fire? It's a fire that went on its own. The age is like an arrow. Lighting a fire is considered to be throwing an arrow. Masniso Braisa Tanya Posla Kasur Nav Chavgim Udaf Beniski Mamoinoi Visim Beniski Gufri. The Braiso interpreted the pasuk exactly as we said. That you start with Niskei Amoina, that means Teitzim Atzmo. V'sim Niskei Gufay, because it says Mavir. So you see that you just letting something. It's not that you put the fire directly, but that we're talking about that it started on its own, and it's considered to be Niskei Gufay. So the Braiso really explains to me the pasuk in a clear way. We should already point out why you need it. Why you need the Brisa, the Pasuk L'chura is self-explanatory. I asked, Rava says, Abai had a question. It's interesting. Rava is saying, he's quoting Abai. What is it? According to Mother holds, the Eish means it's like your chait, it's like your arrow. How do you find Tomun in the case of Eish? We know that Tomun, we learned it earlier. And Eish, you potter and Tomun. You potter if something is hidden, is concealed, is covered. How you potter? What's the problem? Why should it be Eishu? So Rashi brings that we find by Odo Amazik, there's no difference if you did it b'shoigeg, b'mezid, b'oinis, b'rotzoy. So also a Tomun why should be potter? What's the connection of Tomun to shoigeg and oinis? So first you say, as we're talking about here, the reasoning, the Rashi understands why Tomun is potter, is because when someone puts a fire, he's not supposed to think about Tomun. That we're sharing that Chodim bring this idea that there is a savara behind the idea of Tomun. So if I have a savara in Tomun, right, that he's not supposed to think about it, Odo Mazik doesn't have any patur. Toys is a little different. It just says that all the chilukim that we find, the heterim, that Tomun by fire, Kalim and Bor, Jusarabim by Shen Regel, that's all in Behema, by animal. By Adam, we don't find all this between. And Rashi's second explanation is that if you look, you compare the fire to chaitz, to an arrow usually goes in, usually penetrates into an interior area. That's why fire should go into the interior area as well. So the Gemara says, if you hold Yishu Chitzo, why are you potter and Tomun? So the Gemara v'nichale, we had an answer. Fire fell into a courtyard. And then a fence that was there fell. Not because of the fire. So when he lit the fire, he had in mind that probably the fire will be contained in this chutzner and will not go through the fence. But then the fire the fence fell and went on. Now, as the one was going to say, he could have stopped the fire afterwards. But when he lit the fire, when he started the fire, then he thought the fire was going to stop in the fence. His chait was finished. Okay, so why is he chayav in the gili? He finished, the fire is done. Says the Gemara, just explaining the question. If you hold a shushu chitzov, and the chait is only when you lit the fire where your thought is going to get to, so the fire is going to reach the fence and stop there. Now the fence is not there. When he lit the fire, he knows it's going to go there. He knows it's going to go ahead. So the man dome is Shuchitzov, Isli Namim Shomoina. The one who holds Ishu Shuchitzov holds also Ishu Shomoina. Kigun Shayo Ligodlo Ligodro. In other words, what's the case? He should have closed the fence. So he's chayav now because of Mamoina. The house of Shoyu Vilator of Lapis compared to having an axe, they did not stop, he didn't put a fence in front of it. So if so, what's the chiluk? What's the difference between man dome with the holds that fire is because of chaitz and fire the holds of fire is because of moment? What's arbet vayim? We know that an autumn mazik is chayav and nezik tsar ripu shebes boishes. This is what usually autumn mazik is chayav. Sure is chayav only in nezik. So I want to say that autumn mazik, if it's chait, it's autumn mazik, you have to chayav more things. Why 4 things? Should be 5 things. So Rashi says we're going to exclude boishes because boishes needs to be only when you have an intentional kavanah to do it. Here, when a person lights a fire, you don't see as intentional. The Rambam learns you do chayav on fire. When we're saying 4 means an additional 4. Additional 4 to what we have. But now, what's the pshat in the Gemara? The man ish izu shuchitzo ish l'shomoyne. So the way we explain, and maybe just to explain a little bit more, is the way Rashi says over here. Pshat is, the man do mishuchitzo also holds ish l'shomoyne. A fire could be your chitz, it could be your mammon. If it's either it's a chitz, if you did it intentionally with the knowledge that it's going to go somewhere. And if not, if kol l'chitzo, like this case, so it becomes Yishu Mishomoinu. So you have both. But according to this, it's very hard to understand the Hemshech Gemara. Because the more than says, Mai B'nayu, what's the chiluk between Yishu Shuchitzu and Yishu Amoinu? What do you mean Mai B'nayu? We just brought in the previous daf so many things. For example, Kimam De'amene. Do you have a din if a person does a fire, and the same time he did Mammon, do you say that he's Chayav Pater? If you hold the Yishu Shuchitzu, so he has the Kimam De'amene. So then he's Pater on Mammon. Just one example. And the Vilna Gaon puts it out even stronger. We just spoke about Talmud. That's the whole reason I'm bringing this Gemara is because of Talmud. Talmud, Ishu Shuchitzo, you're chayav in Talmud. Ishu Shomo, you're not chayav in Talmud. So there's a lot of communities if you hold Shuchitzo, the same communities you had before. There's Rashi Ksaviyad, has a different shot. We'll explain the way that Nachas David says this Rashi. Nachas David says like this. Man do Ishu Shuchitzo holds Ishu Shomo, meaning only when you have Ishu Shomoin, you have Ishu Shuchitzov. If it's not Shomoin, you're not Chayav Chitzov. You're not going to be Chayav and Chitzov alone. Chitzov is only working together with Mom. So if Mishomoin you put on Tamun, and Chitzov you also put on Tamun. There's no such thing, the Ishu Shuchitzov will be if you don't have Ishu Shomoin. So you mainly. The Gemara says, what we have to go was asking. My nafkamina, if you hold Ishu, we hold the Ishu Shuchitzov, according to this Pshat of Rashi, this is the Pshat Rashi Ksaviyat. As Rashi says, Ishu Shuchitzov is not that you have Chitzov and then you have also more if you don't have Chitzov. You don't have Chitzov, you don't have a Moina. So it says the most of my nafkamina. Every time, if you have a Moina, you have Chitzov. If you don't have a Moina, you're not going to have Chitzov either. It says the more nafkamina is a Chayav Barbadvarim. When you're Chayav on Momoina, Nezek, you're Chayav and Chitzov and other additional things. If you look at Rashi, Rashi says, nearly. The first Lashon nearly. Which Lashon Rishon? In our Rashi, there's no Lashon Rishon. So first we say, referring to the Ksaviyat. One last thing on this point. If you go back to Chav Beis Amud Aleph, and Chav Beis Amud Aleph, Rashi said, remember we learned the Machlekes Rashi Taisis, are you chayav on fire if you don't own it? So Rashi says, in the last wide line at the top, we thought the Ika Benayu Kagon Shihidlik Begachel Shein Shalom. Right now, if you hold Yishu Chitzov, you don't have to own the Gachelas. If you hold Yishu Amoino, you do have to own it. Teres argues and Rashi holds you don't have to own it, but Rashi holds the Yishu Amoino is only if you really own the fire. Rashi says V'kasal Kedaitech. We thought that way. So the Acharim ask Rashi, why it's only we thought that way? We never change it. But Yeshua says, Rashi, when it says Kasaka Daita is Lav Davka. According, if we have the first shot of Rashi over here we're changing our mind. Because we said in the beginning of the Sugyo, we wanted to say that according to Rabbi Yochanan, the issue of Shuchitzu, you don't have to own the fire. But now that we're saying, according to this shot of Rashi, that you're not Chayav and Chitzav unless you Chayav and Mamoinoi, you have to own it to be Chayav in both. So the Gemara continues and says that if you have the charora, you have the cake, you pay on the charora, then you have to pay on the kodesh. Man chayav, who's chayav? Bal Kelev, the owner of the dog, is chayav on the fact that he ate the cake, and it's chayav on the fact that he put the cake on the kodesh and he burned the kodesh. One second, what about the owner of the coal, the owner of the cake? He had fire over there. Now the Rishonim argue. Who are we asking how exactly will be chayav? Rashi learned, let's split it. It should be 50-50. So he should pay half because it's Tzoros on the Kodesh, the Kelev, and the other half should pay the owner of the Gecheles. Tzoros learned is really not half and half, it should be 3/4 and 1/4. Because the one who owns the Kelev, he has a partner. He doesn't have to pay the whole thing, the whole 50%, should be only half of that. The Teisa Rosh learns that the one you want to be chayav is only the Baal Gecheles. Why? Because the Baal Gecheles, and this goes back to what the Achronim learned in the Sugyas. When you light fire, you're not doing it alone. The chiddush of a Torah that you have in fire is even though there's other things, other elements that help the fire. You have wind, you have air. You need the world to help you. It's called Ruach Mitzuya. A dog taking the cake and putting on the Godish is Ruach Mitzuya, according to at least the Having in the Gemara. So the Baal Gecheles is chayav. He's the only one who's chayav. Now the Rambam says the Baal Gecheles will be chayav on the Mokam HaNocha of the cake, and the Baal Gecheles will be chayav on the rest of the Godish. What's pshat? So the Chayim explained that he learns it to Rosh. He just says whenever the dog does be a daim, that you can't be mechayav the owner of the Gecheles. But the rest of the Godish, he holds like there's a Rosh that the Baal Gecheles is chayav on the whole thing. So the Gemara asked, Baal Gecheles should be involved. Answer the Gemara, Shimei Gechalto. He did card the Gecheles. If Yeshiva Gechalto, my bike killed, so how did the dog get there? It's called B'shechosa. The dog was digging a hole underneath the wall, and the owner of the Gecheles didn't think about it. Omar Mari Bradav Kamas Sumeris Tamatois Chasuris Etzem Kelev. You see, the fact that the owner of the dog is chayav because the door is considered to be that he should think that his dog is going to dig underneath the wall. So even though the owner of the Gecheles doesn't think about it, because he thinks he has a gadol, doesn't assume that, but only the dog should think about it. And that's what he's saying. It's not. Rashi says, "The fuk is not mishune. It's not mishune. It's part, and that's not part of Niska. So now, Rashi says that, and this we just pointed out, the stam those chados akelev, v'lotei mishunu pagnizim shalim, it's mishune. So I would think it'd be only half an ezek because he came in there, the hole was something mishune, not normal. The Rosh says no. The Rosh argues in Rashi. Rosh says it's not mishune to eat, mishune to get there. But the concept of shinu is not based on how you got there. The concept of shinu is based on what you ate. Eating was not mishune. The Chayim explain what's the machlokes Rashi in the Rosh. Rashi learns that the definition of shinui is the going back to the chakir of the Chayim we had in the beginning of the parak. Why are you chayav on your animal? Because you didn't guard it, or because it's moment of mazik? Rashi learns you didn't guard it. So here, I guarded the dog. I didn't know the dog is going to go do something strange. So you put there something strange. You're chayav only chatzin ezek. The Rosh learns is moment of mazik. Shmir is only a ptur. So eating is, you're still chayav on the animal eating. Where exactly did she eat? Did the dog eat the charor? Went out to eat somewhere else. You need to have it in Chotzar Nizak. He ate in the Godish Bacharor, meaning the owner of the cake is also the owner of the Godish. So they ate the cake and the Godish in the owner's location, and therefore you're chayav at Chotzar Nizak. Says the Gemara, you learn from here. The pit part, the mouth of the animal, is what you does it have? Because it'll be chotzar nizak. Why? If it's like chotzar mazik, what is my cake doing in your mouth? Right? Meaning, let's go just maybe see a few more lines over here. We had a question. Right? What is the mouth of the animal? Is the mouth of the animal considered to be chotzar nizak? Chotzar mazik. If you hold it chotzar mazik, how do you find shame at all? Every shame goes into the mouth. Says the Gemara, she rubbed herself against the wall and ruined the wall, damaged the wall, or she caused the fruits to be dirty. It needs to be completely consumed, and here it's not completely consumed. If you know about the Shavtzam, there was completely consumed, there was beautiful designs on the wall, and the animal, by rubbing herself, ruined the designs. Rashi explains two explanations. Pasui means she took fruits and ruined them. So that will be the case. Now, what is the Gemara speaking about? What's exactly the discussion? If the what is the case? The Gemara is asking, what about is the mouth of the animal kechotzar mazik? So the Rishonim learn, we're not talking about just regular shame. That's pashut. That if the animal took the food for chotzar nizak and ate in chotzar nizak, you chayav. How the mouth may be chotzar mazik, that's how the Torah said the shem is chayav. So how do you explain it? So Torah explains, we talk about that a cheresh sheikte v'koton put the food into the mouth. So the animal did not take it. But cheresh sheikte v'koton put it into the mouth and then the animal ate it. That's the case. So what's the connection to our sugya? Where is it over here? It says Torah, we ask it because the question, when Gemara asked, where exactly did the dog eat or put the charara? If it put it has to be in chotzar nizak. You can't have a problem of shame v'regel if it's not chotzar nizak. Oh, you say you need to have chotzar nizak, meaning if you took it from one place, went to another place, not good enough. What are you going to tell me in a regular shame when a cheresh of a koton gives it to the nizak? So it's a little bit of, it's not mamish connected to sugya, but because in the question of the Gemara we mentioned chotzar nizak, so we bring this question. The Ravid says much simpler. Ravid says, the question is, when you take an item from Rishus Rabbim and you bring it to Rishus Nizak, meaning the taking was Rishus Rabbim, but the eating was Rishus Nizak, is that you be chayav that? Do you say that the mouth is Rishus Mazik, so then the day you didn't really have Rishus Nizak? Or you say the mouth is Rishus Nizak and it's good. If you took it from Rishus Nizak and ate Rishus Nizak, then there's no question you're chayav. But took it from Rishus Rabbim and ate Rishus Nizak, then they have a question. And then it very fits our sugya. Because in our sugya we talk about that you took the cake from one place and went to somewhere else. So Shaila is you take it from one place and something else doesn't work, which is Nizak or not. That is really connected to the sugya. Why Taisus didn't want to say it? So as the Acharim point out, Taisus learns that if you take from Rishus Rabbim, what is the most maskana? The Yuchayev. Right? It was a tivshit. What's a tivshit? Chotzar nizak, Yuchayev. Taisus learns if you take from Rishus Rabbim and go to Chotzar nizak, you're potter. So therefore, you can't tell me that the question of the Gemara is from Rishus Rabbim to Rishus Nizak. Therefore, Taisus took up a cheresh of the koton. Then the pashitus of the suffix was that the cheresh of the koton put it in and she ate it is kechotzar nizak. But take up Rishus Rabbim to Rishus Nizak and echanami you'll be potter. This is a big sugya, but just to mention. Says the Gemara, and according to this, what was saying shame the chirvechmon. Of course, there will be shame. Chotzar nizak and taking chotzar nizak in chotzar nizak. But the one understands that only the eating is doing chotzar nizak, and that already should be changed. So more, what do you find? Such a thing? Says the Gemara, says the Gemara, a person went and he caused the dog or a snake to bite a person. Potter, not potter. Who's potter? Meshasa potter, the one who tried to influence the dog and snake to bite. And the owner of the dog is chayav. If you hold it chotzar mazik, what is your hand doing in the mouth of my dog. So, why are you saying that the dog is chayav? Says the more eno potter abmishas is more potter. He didn't put it into the mouth. He stuck out his teeth and caused a damage with the teeth outside. So therefore, the dog is chayav because it's done chotarizak. But the person who caused it, he's going to be put in that case. Tashma, he was the nachash. He took the nachash and literally stuck the mouth of nachash into the hand. Rabbi says like a knife. Well, why Choyim Poiter? So Gemara explains, according to Rav Yudo, the venom is in the teeth. Figure makish b'sayif v'nochash pater. The makish is the one as if he took a knife and stabbed the person, and the nochash didn't do anything. The nochash is the one who threw out, who spit out the venom. Figure nochash b'skil because the nochash killed. Makish pater because the makish, he just put them out there, but we just did a groma. He didn't do it directly. The old people, if you open the mouth, is like chotzar mazik. What is your hand doing in the mouth of my steak? In other words, even though he said, what do you mean your hand? Someone put my hand. But said the owner of the steak. That's not my responsibility. You're in my place. I don't know why you keep in my place. Why are you there? So the more lenient capital learning. We're not talking about killing the animal. Killing the animal is different. So the more we know Timur, how do you know that? Tanya, person went into Chotzer Habayis Lushus is in the wrong place. He went to someone else's house. The not kosher Shalbayis and the shor Habayis killed him. The mace hashor b'skilo. You kill the shor. The bailam turim milakayf. The bailam don't have to pay. Bailam turim milakayf in my time. Why the bailam potter? Tomali b'shusi my boys. What are you doing in my location? Shor nami leimali in my boys b'shusi also the shor. Why is the shor chayav? What are you doing in my location? In other words, killing a shor who killed Adam is different. And this is how the Chodim pointed out is really the Ramban in the Torah. Because the pshat is that we kill an animal who killed Adam not as a punishment. But that's the thing of the Torah, that an animal who killed Adam needs to die. When we Chazal say it is because in order people should not say, oh, this animal killed this Adam. It's also a big Kabbalah is not appropriate for an animal to become higher than Adam. So it's not because of a punishment, even though you didn't do anything wrong. But it might say an animal killed, you take away that animal killed another. So the Gemara wanted to bring rice, the Gemara basically says we don't have rice from these things, but our sugi you do have rice. Because the Gemara says the fact that by the dog you say they chayav on the cake. Why don't you say what is it doing in your mouth? As the quick writer is very clear. You take the cake from Shus Rabbi, bring it to Shus Hayachid. You say you chayav. Why? The same thing. Like taking the cake and bringing it to the Gadish. That you chayav. Okay. Says the Gemara. I know easy the Beit Harbor. They were the goats of this place. They are mafsid of Yosef. They caused damage of Yosef. I remember that I told Abaye, go tell the owner to hide them, to hold it, to make sure they should not cause damage. Said Abaye, where should I go? Tiazino, if I'm going to go, I'm really going to tell me, they're going to tell me that you should put a fence. In other words, why should we should guard our animals? You should guard your field of putting a fence. So more if the idea is the fence, if you're responsible to your fence around your field, how will be shame that you're chayav? Because there's always going to be a fence. If there's no fence, you're not chayav. The owner of the field is responsible. If the animal dug beneath the fence, or if the fence fell in the middle of the night where you couldn't build it up. So what is Gemara bringing over here? It seems like a machlekes of Yosef and Abaye. Reza says they have to be responsible for the animal. Abaye says, no, you have to build a fence. So some Yeshua want to say there's no machlekes. Really, Abaye didn't want to go. He said that's what they're going to say, not because he agreed with him. But the Rabbeinu Chanana learns that he is chayav he's right. Abai is right. Talking about fields outside of the city, but Lemaisa you chayav, and there's a claim against the owner of the field. If I have a place to put my animals can go around, you have to put a fence around your field. It's your responsibility of the mizak, not of the mazik. And here you have the shot that says we know that something which is mekubal. Always say Rabbi Chananel kol devar of divrei kabbalah. So we'll speak about a little more in the Shul Machshava. What's the idea over here? But the point is that that's where the shachot to paskin like Rabbi Chananel in this case. Says the Gemara, Makos of Yosef had an announcement. Or something Rabbi said. The sun can lay the nachtan letachto, meaning people that are going to Eretz Yisrael and people that are going to Bava, they should announce it to everybody. Hanot easy the shuko, these goats of the marketplace. Tim mafsadeh, they're causing hefset. We warned the owners 2-3 times. If he listens, good. Go sit down in the butcher shop and get your money. Meaning, we shech the animal. And you take the money for other meat. So here the Rishonim discuss it. And one way the traces, others explain, we're talking about these animals, they're meant to be shechted. That's their purpose. So the Nizak says, I don't want to be busy with you going to Beis Din, dealing with them. You're anyway going to shecht it. The shecht it already now. And the Gemara says, that's right. If you're anyway planning to shecht it, you're anyway going to kill these animals. And right now, you're just waiting for the right opportunity. So if you can guard the animals, good. If not, we're going to force you to shecht it right away. It's not an animal that stays alive. Animal stays alive, then we go to regular. If you didn't guard it, we'll go to Beis Din and you have to pay. But if anyway you're shechting it, so then we require it to shecht it right away in order not to cause you too much of a headache for the Nizak to run after the mazik and ask him to pay. And that's what the Teish learns it. Some other Rishonim learn that maybe applies in every other case as well. A discussion on its own. They said, we'll stop over here and Beis will continue for the Mishnah in the next daf.